Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Today, we're going to review Love is Blind episode number 8. Once again, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. We know the season finale is on March 6th of Love is Blind. As we get started, we find that the couples have 19 days left before they get married. 19 days before they get married. And we find the couples are visiting each other's homes. Jimmy visits Chelsea's house where he gets to see her home, but he also gets to visit and see her roommate, who is kind of quirky, who talks a little bit too much, who is a lot. Jimmy, after visiting a roommate, seeing a roommate, realized that, look, we can't stay here. Can't stay in this house, can't stay in this space, can't stay in the area whatsoever. He then eventually takes Chelsea to his studio apartment where it's got a lot of bit of space, but again, he has to work in the space, and while he's working, while he's taking meetings, she has to go somewhere else. This is talking about future after they leave the apartment that was set up for them by Love is Blind. We find out eventually that Chelsea invites people over to invite her friends over to the house to reconnect with them, right? To talk to them, to have a conversation with them, to converse with them. But Jimmy at this time is working upstairs. So Chelsea takes her friends outside, and they begin to talk about how the process was and what was going on during the process and how everything was going on with her and Jimmy. She said everything was going well. They had one argument, they had one discussion that was heated, but everything's pretty much going well. She talks about what transpired in the pod between her, Jimmy, and Trevor. She talks about the triangle, the love triangle that was going on. Chelsea confessed that she did love Trevor, and he was her number one, right? Her number one, and he was a potential partner, right? But she chose Jimmy at the end because Jimmy stole her heart. Hey, it happens that way, bees that way. But she did talk about how she believed that Trevor had a mullet. They was having a great conversation, but Jimmy took to heart. Jimmy does come downstairs eventually, and they started having a great conversation. The girls started to grill him about why he likes Chelsea. How was it in the pod? Has things changed since they've been in the pod? He talks about them having the argument that took place over the AD situation. He discussed that. But for the most part, the conversation between the young ladies, Chelsea's friends and Jimmy, went pretty well until the end of the night, right? Until Chelsea starts talking about how Jimmy had not kissed her that much throughout the day. And he goes into his explanation. His explanation is that he did kiss her. He kissed her while he was brushing his teeth. He kissed her on the cheek while he was working. He kissed her before he went downstairs to meet her friend, before she went downstairs to meet her friends, to let her friends in. He did kiss her. But what he said was that you're being a little clingy. Why did he say that? Because when he used the word clingy, that conversation went south quickly, right? Chelsea got upset at the statement, and she explained she was just trying to express her affection towards him, and he didn't have to say anything about her being clingy. She wanted to express her affection towards him. If you're trying to express your affection, just go give him a kiss. Go hug him, right? Can you give me a kiss? Can I get a kiss now? Dude tells her he loves her every second of the day to reassure her. I think he tells a little bit he loves her to reassure himself that he loves her. All right, he keeps telling all the time that it's just a couple of days. It's not like you've been married 22, 23, 24 years where you can tell people that you love them because you actually do. You are actually there for a short space of time. And he's like, I love you, I love you, I love you. He's giving her what she needs in this relationship, affirmation after affirmation after affirmation. And it seemed like it's not enough. And he misses. I think he set a bar high, that the bar is too high. It's set real high. And if he slips down just a little bit, she misses that. My thing was, what happens when she goes back to work and she's flying across the country as a flight attendant? What happens if he goes on a business meeting? Does he need to call you every hour of the hour and tell you that he loves you? And that's what he was trying to say. Like, hey, give me a break. Give me some breather. Then she takes it a little bit south because she said, well, I wasn't too clingy. When I was sitting there watching your favorite TV show with you, I wasn't too clingy after we watched the TV show. We went upstairs and had sex. And he was like, well, you initiated the sex anyway. I didn't want it. Bruh, why did he say he didn't want it? But again, she gave it, he took it, and now he says he didn't want it. That's a red flag there, because again, if she initiated and you had it, guess what? You wanted it anyway. So the conversation goes south. She's like, I'm leaving. She said she was leaving. She doesn't actually leave. He actually packs his stuff up and leaves, right? I didn't get why he left, because she said she was leaving, but Jimmy eventually ended up leaving. Chelsea says a lot of this is because he saw a picture of Jess and he has feelings now for her. and that because of what he saw, the picture he saw with Jess is making him lose his mind. Only time will tell. We'll see. We'll see. All right, we move on. We move on to Lauren and Jeremy. Lauren goes to Jeremy's house. His mom writes him a letter at the home. And leaves a letter for him and Lauren to read. It seemed, and Jeremy lives in an immaculate house, right? It's very clean. It seemed as if mom or a maid had came and cleaned the house while he was gone to make sure everything was in place. I mean, gold silverware, refrigerator labels are turned a certain way. It is a lot going on in Jeremy's house, but it's in a good way. It's nice and clean. It's taken care of. It's real good, real smooth. They're doing some good things right now. Jeremy and them are having a good relationship, having good conversation. They're moving in the right direction. No Sarah Ann has been brought up as of yet, but it will eventually eventually get that way or go there. But they're doing some things which are in an okay place, right? Okay place. So we'll see how things hang out a little bit later with them. They do have Lauren does come up and talk about that Sarah Ann did DM her fiance, right? Sarah Ann did DM Jeremy, but he was honest. He was like, "Look, this is what's going on. Look, here's the message that she sent me. This is what she said. This is what's going on." And it was like total transparency. The last part was a little bit shaky because she's like, "If we want to meet up, we can meet up. We can talk." It is like weird, right? It's weird. Jessica meets up with Jessica revealed that her and Jimmy sent a friend request, that she did deny Jimmy's request, right? I'm moving on to another couple that she did deny Jimmy's request. But it didn't say deny, it refused it, right? He sent a request out there. It took a long time to answer. 8 hours, she went back to it and it just wasn't gone. But he did see what she looked like. And Jessica was like, Jimmy did look okay, right? Jimmy looked okay, and she was willing to deal with Jimmy. So I wanted to add that into the Jimmy and Chelsea category, that Jessica did see what Jimmy looked like, and she was okay with it. Say he could have been butt ugly. He still wanted to be out there. It'll be a dangling temptation right in front of his face, right? That she didn't want to be a temptation in his face. But if the chance presents itself and they see each other, she'll have that conversation. She'll have that conversation with him. The other biggest thing between Amy and Johnny, they talked about kids, man. This is the thing that Amy and Johnny, which is always, he doesn't want kids right away. He wants to be financially stable. He wants to retire at age 50. He doesn't want kids right now. She doesn't want to get on birth control, right? She said she doesn't want to be on birth control. He doesn't want kids. She talked about him having a vasectomy. Like, I know vasectomies can be reversed, but why would you have a vasectomy before you even have kids? That was weird to me. Some people might do it, but why would I have to go underneath the knife twice? She doesn't want birth control. They haven't been intimate yet as of yet. He goes through this whole thing about how he wants to have this certain amount of money. They want to have this certain amount of money. And if it happens by mistake, well, bro, if it happens by mistake, that means y'all not using condoms. The pull-out method you should have learned in high school really don't work that much. It should have been either you're not doing it or you're using condoms or somebody's on top of some type of birth control in order for her not to get pregnant. She just said she doesn't want to mess up her balance in her body, right? Her balance is fine. She's anemic. You mentioned she's anemic and she doesn't want to mess up the balance in her body. She doesn't want to do birth control pills. She wants to keep everything nice and smooth. So she's suggesting that he does a vasectomy. So in other words, I don't see these two having sex anytime soon because they can't get on the same page about kids. I don't care how much money you have. You're still gonna spend money out for kids. And I think that's a misconception. You can manage kids on a decent salary, right? People do it all the time. There are things that happen. She's talking about waiting 5 years to have kids. He wants to wait till he's 50 to have kids. They're not on the same page, but you're gonna continue to have sex. Something's gonna take place. Something's gonna happen. There have to be some measures put in place. So Amy and Johnny's biggest issue right now in this episode was the fact that they have to discuss kids. It may be a big thing in their relationship a little bit later. They both want them. They don't want them to have time. She doesn't want to get on birth control. He's open to a vasectomy, but not open to it. It's a lot going on with them about kids sexually and financial stability. He wants to stay financially stable. He wants to be financially secure before kids come into place. Y'all let me know what you think. Is it too much? Is Johnny asking too much? Or is Amy asking Johnny to do too much? You let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Here we go. The biggest thing of this episode, on episode number 8, has been Kenneth and Britney. Yo, bro, Kenneth is a piece of work, right? He's gaslighting this girl. He feel like like she came out to him like, look, the emotion hasn't been the same. The physical intimacy, the emotional intimacy hasn't been the same since we came out of the pods. We're struggling with physical intimacy. Like, what's going on? But one of the reasons that she's struggling with physical intimacy is this. He's always on his phone. He's not home. He went to get his hair twisted. He went somewhere else, and he didn't get home till like 2 o'clock in the morning. She said she had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He rose in the bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he wakes her up with the lights and everything that's on. And then he tries to have physical intimacy, not sex. Just, I guess he tried to put his arm around her, touch her, talk to her. She's like, I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is not what we're going to do. You roll in at 2 o'clock, talk to me in the morning. And they're not seeing eye to eye. He's sitting there eating his food. And the biggest thing with me is how he's gaslighting her and manipulating her is this. He said every time she says something to him that she doesn't like, well, I just did it once. You're not going to give me no grace. I just did it once. You can keep. I just don't want years later. We're talking about this. She's not talking about this years later. She's talking about it now in the moment. Like, give her the moment to say, hey, bro, you messed up. You did something wrong. And this is how I feel. This is what I'm talking about. And expressing her feelings. And he can't do it. She's like, you're distracted. When we was in the, he's distracted by the outside world. When they was in a pod, when he had nothing to do, it was all about her. Now he's back in the real world with work, with his friends. He's always constantly on his phone. He's not giving her the attention that she needs. And it's funny because he's the one that when they was on vacation made all these rules before we go to bed. Let's make sure we communicate, make sure we talk to each other about each other's day. Let us do all this. He's running through this whole list. And yet outside of the pod, together, outside of the honeymoon, none of this is taking place. So what he says to her, he said that I'm confident that spiritually what is supposed to be for me will be for me. I mean, this is just how God operates with me. Otherwise, I don't want to be with you. This relationship is not going where it needs to be. I'm glad we open and honest with each other, but I'm not forced. I don't want to force a relationship. I don't want to force a relationship. I don't see any benefit in it. I'm sitting here like, isn't that work? You're supposed to work on a relationship. Y'all guys are dating. Yes, this is a show. It's accelerated. You knew each other in a pod, but you're still working on a relationship. And if you're never home, if you're never together, you're never talking to her, you're never communicating, how can a relationship grow? She's not forcing it. She wants certain things out of the relationship that you're not giving. And he felt like he made it seem as it's all on her. They use the word crave, right? It's all on her and not on him. In a relationship or in a marriage, it is a mutual thing, mutual respect. We both have to communicate. We both have to be open. We both have to be vulnerable. And it's just not a give and take. And what I felt with Kenneth, he wanted it his way, right? This is the way I want it. This is the way I wrote it down. This is the way I needed to be. And I need you to operate it. And you can't use God in this situation because that's not how it operates. Like, this is when God puts you in a situation, puts you in a predicament, but you work it out. Right? You have to deal with it. You have to work it out. And he's not working out. Kim clearly stated that their relationship wouldn't be able to work and that there was someone else for Britney, even though he thought it was not him. He just said, yo, it's not me. It's somebody else. He broke up with her over dinner. It wasn't an argument. It was like a conversation. It was her expressing her feelings to him, and he broke up with her. And then he hopped on the phone and called his boy. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking. He called his boy, wink, wink, quotation mark, because there have been a lot of rumors out there about his sexuality. I'm not getting into it, but I see the blogs and I see what you guys are talking about. He called his boy, said, look, I'm coming over there. And some believe that he did that because he's living a double life. But anyway, he tells her, I will be the biggest supporter and believer in you, but I also love myself too much. I'm also overcome so much just to force something just because it's not fair for me or you. Saying the right things, trying to say the right things, trying to be politically correct in this relationship is not, it wasn't good. The way that he treated her, the way that he put her down, it was very manipulative. It made it seem that it was her fault. He's not willing to try to even work on this. It's not forcing. It is trying to make the relationship better. It is 19 days. Like, you could go to the altar and say, we don't want to do it. Can you work it out for 19 days? On these reality shows, some of these people are not ready for marriage. They're not ready for relationships. If you can quit after 19 days, if you can quit after not even 19 days, you can quit for 3 or 4 days or 7 days of the week after the honeymoon is over, after they force you to be together, if you can't manage a relationship in the real world, you shouldn't be in a relationship, which is why you're on the show in the first place. I get it. I understand it. He gaslighted her. He emotionally broke her just that quick. She's totally upset and broken, but trying to save face by saying, I still support you. I believe in you. Well, if you support her, you believe in her, and you still care for her, why don't you work it out? And that's episode 8, man. Let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Will we see Kenneth and Britney ever get back together? Don't know. Will Jimmy reach back out to Sarah Ann? Will Jeremy reach out to Jessica and see how that relationship goes as well? Hey, only time will tell. Once again, enjoying the season of Love is Blind. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and we'll catch you a little bit later. Appreciate you. Peace. Bye.